next episode from the Lowth Center has arrived. Erica is a rock star, and she is now transitioning from the consumer space to going corporate. So stay tuned for that Entrepreneur Show special episode with the Roaming Pedal founder. Erica, it's great to see you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
If you missed her first show with me, she was on a mental health break. Be sure to scroll down in the episode description to find that out. But for today, we're going to learn all about her business. Like each week here on that Entrepreneur Show, we sit down with the founder of a company or brand from all around the world to help you on your journey through their first-hand experiences. Erica, I know quite well because I sit next to you on the other side of Harry, who we've met in the program. Why'd you start your company?
Yeah, so it's kind of a crazy journey. I was actually living and working over in Bali, right, in Southeast Asia with my other business, which was graphic design. And while I was there, I basically just fell in love with how the island was using, all their beautiful tropical blooms and all of their ceremonies. Their tradition is really a part of their culture. And I just wanted to embrace it and learn more about it. And so I just started helping out at a local flower shop, working with the Balinese women every day. And it was such a beautiful kind of not only educational experience, but also a relaxing and grounding and kind of a mindful meditation in itself, learning and playing and connecting and creating these beautiful arrangements. And I realized there's kind of a lack of that, right? Like we usually buy flowers from a store, someone gives them to you, but we don't really have that engagement with creating them ourselves and that joyful and mindfulness that I was getting from actually creating the arrangements with these women. And so I wanted to be able to kind of bridge that gap and kind of share with the average person, right? You don't need to be a florist or even have a creative bone in your body, and really bridge that and let like the average person disconnect from everything going on around them and really reconnect with nature and themselves, but also learn, right, steps and tips and tricks on how to put together flowers, how to pick them, how to keep them alive so you can have beautiful arrangements in your home or gift them, to your family and friends as well. So yeah.
We're going to revisit at the end, but for people who want these tips right now, they want to pause and go check it out, where can we find you online?
Yeah, so you can go to theroamingpedal.com or Instagram as well. It's just at theroamingpedal. We share tons of tips and tricks and videos on there as well.
I love it. So be sure to head on there and then click play again because we're just getting started. I want to go back in time with you. I've seen how far you've progressed now, especially in this program. Mm-hmm. Let's go back to your first event, not helping out the flower shops, because I want to encourage everyone out there that we don't have to have it always 100% ready, put together to launch.
Yeah.
Let's hear about your first event ever.
Yeah, so our first event was actually virtual, which is like crazy because we launched like kind of in COVID. So things were like, right. Some people were open, some people weren't. And so we literally went and delivered flowers like to people's houses in St. Pete and then popped on a Zoom. And like, I did it from my kitchen. Like, I kid you not, like I set up a light stand, like I'm in my kitchen in my house. My dad helped me deliver flowers because I was like, I have to go to all these places and drop off the vases and flowers. And so, yeah, I did it virtually online. And then from there, we did our first like in-person one at someone's home for like a Valentine's Day party. And it was scary and exciting, and there's a lot of learning curves. I had never hosted a party ever before, so it was like, okay, how's this really gonna flow and go? And they loved it. And like what I realized was like they don't know if I'm doing it right or wrong, right? Like if I say something wrong, even if I practice my script and I'm like, oh, I forgot to say one little thing, they don't know the difference, right? So as long as they're getting value out of it and having a good time and having that connection and, fun and education with it, then that's all that matters.
I can certainly resonate to my early days, even as a speaker. I now use more bullet points and guidelines, but I used to, like entrepreneurs, we do put a lot of pressure on ourselves to be this perfect speech. And I would stutter on these words and skip a sentence. And in my head, I know I missed it, but everybody else, they have no idea that you had a speech go off. So everyone out there, just start. She went out there. She didn't ever host a party, but she went out there and did it. Now, I want to circle back to how I started. We're still doing consumer events, but we want to now go to the corporate wellness space. Yeah. I'm excited about that as a mental health advocate. Yeah. But now also you're expanding. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about that transition for everyone out there who is also maybe on the tip of expansion, even if a different field.
Yeah, for sure. So I think like we've been in business now for a little over 2 years. So, trial and error, right, is always a big thing when you're starting a business. So we started in the public workshop space. We started going into different local businesses, doing workshops there, and then engaging with consumers so that we could then host private parties for them, which is great and amazing. And I love doing that as well. But we want to be able to kind of grow on like a larger scale, right, to really help and to like gauge in on that corporate wellness, right? Helping people get off the screens and do something with their hands. And so breaking into kind of, different sectors now where we do public workshops, private events, and the corporate as well. So we can go into office spaces. We're a mobile business, so like that's always been the core of us, so that we could go into different businesses, different people's homes, different office spaces, and bring our workshops to them. So really now it's like we've learned a lot, right? I was kind of scared to go into the corporate space because like you're working with a big business, right? There's a lot of money and a lot of, pressure behind it. Whereas like when you go to someone's home for a party, right? It's not as crazy and it doesn't feel as much pressure there, right? But now that we've it figured out, right, we've worked through all those trials and errors in kind of the public workshop space and in the private sector. Now I'm like, okay, now it's easy enough to see how we can scale it into the business and corporate sector, which is a much larger area and bigger events for us. So yeah.
You're replicating these processes into different areas. What is your favorite part about doing what you do? I know it brings you a lot of joy. I know you're very passionate about it, but let's hear about something out there for maybe you've inspired someone out here to start getting creative.
For sure. Honestly, it's the end of our workshops. Like seeing the people's faces when they come in, everyone's like a little hesitant. Some people are really excited. Right. Some people are kind of like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this because I have never done this before. But seeing everyone at the end, like their reactions, everyone's so happy and so uplifted. And even the people who were like, I'm not creative and I could never make this on my own, are like so excited that they made this beautiful arrangement all by themselves, right? They were able to connect and use their hands and use creativity in their own way that they didn't even know was possible. And really seeing that transition from like start to end and like those breakthroughs that people have, and them just share like they're like, wow, this was really like relaxing and joyful and mindful for them as well, is really my favorite part. So it's really that ending part where they're done and complete and they get to like see the joy of like, oh my God, I created this beautiful thing in front of me.
I love that, and I'm sure that you inspire a lot of people along the ways. Like you just said, they may not think they're creative, and now you just took away that itty-bitty committee in their head and you opened up a whole new world to them. If someone is going to inquire about one of your parties, say they want to bring you to their house, what are some typical arrangements that you make with them as beginners?
Yeah, for sure. So our biggest and most popular one is our centerpiece classes. So we bring a vase, we bring all the flowers, right? And basically walk them through kind of step by step how to build a beautiful low centerpiece. So it's something easy that they can replicate kind of over and over again. We go over kind of like the flower recipe that we use so they can be able, when they go out into the stores and the markets, pick flowers that they can kind of create. I always tell people, if you have a favorite vase, get that vase, figure out how it works, and then you can just replicate it over and over again instead of trying to create something new.
I like that.
It's really kind of a science. It's not, you don't have to be super creative. There's really just steps and tips and tricks. And once you kind of figure them out, which is what we love to teach, you can kind of do it over again for yourselves and like your friends and family. So yeah.
Well, it's inspired me to keep expanding. Yeah. Everyone out there, we've had a great show. Now, if you've been paying attention to the show from the beginning, there was a long time, at least 3.5 years, I asked everyone on the show the same question. Which entrepreneur would you choose to sit down with, dead or alive, to have a conversation with and learn from? Who would your pick be?
Oh gosh, wow. This is gonna sound crazy, but like, I really would love to meet with Warren Buffett. I know that's like a very cliche person.
What's your why?
But I just feel like he has so much wisdom in like, not just starting a business, but like also his investing game is obviously crazy. And to just be able to pick his brain for like, even 20 minutes, I think would be so beneficial, and just so much wisdom from where he's come from, right, to where he is now. And I know that's like a crazy, everyone's like, oh, I know that it's not even like a special person, but
no.
I just feel like he has so much background in so many different areas that like as an entrepreneur, we often think like, oh, we need to find someone who's like in our field, right, to like look up to or like to get mentoring from. But really, like, if someone has a successful business and they don't do what you do, go talk to them. Like most of it crosses over and overlaps in a way that like can be beneficial. And so yeah, so being able to sit down with him, I think would be amazing and awesome.
Thank you for sharing that. And everyone, be sure to check her out online at
theroamingpedal.com.
theroamingpedal.com. If you're looking for something new to bring to your parties this holiday season especially, she is the person to go to. She has a lot of different arrangements, and now she's expanding, so be sure to give her a follow on social as well. That way you can track her growth. I'm at Vincent De Lancey on all social media. Be sure to head to YouTube and give a follow there to watch some video clips from the show. But for that, we're signing off in the Entrepreneurship Center. Thank you so much.
Thank you.